Welcome to the Dashboard Effect Podcast. I'm Rick Thompson.
I'm Caleb Oakes.
How's it going, Caleb?
Pretty good. Before we jump in, I want to let everybody know, once again, head to our website, check out all the resources we've got out there, blog posts, things like that, for you to hopefully get even more value out of the podcast. You can find old podcast episodes there, too.
Yeah, we're coming up on, actually, this might be our 100th episode, I think.
Is it?
I think it is. I think it might be number 100.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
I'll have to go look.
This feels too casual now.
Go get some champagne or
Yeah,
something.
right, exactly.
At least some beers.
100th episode.
That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, all 100 episodes on our website.
Yeah, they're all there. So bluemargin.com, there's a section called resources. You can find all kinds of stuff there.
Yep. Cool.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Let's talk about managing some data talent,
Yeah.
and how you might go about doing that, all the various things and how we think about it here.
Yeah, okay. And I think about it, as you say, managing, there's a whole management component, there's a procuring component, there's retention, and then there's sort of upskilling, and there's just a lot to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's something we have a lot of experience doing because that's what most of our talent here is. Yep. And we also have a lot of experience watching companies, mid-market companies, struggle with this.
Yeah.
And I think years ago it was always a bit of a mystery to me because our customers would ask us to help and interview, and we would, and they would find good people, but it seemed like a lot of the times those people weren't around very long.
That's true, right? That's definitely the biggest thing that we saw, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to get people in the door, but then, I don't know how many times we heard from an old client like, oh, so-and-so left, and now we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
No, it's just kind of a bummer.
It is. And so maybe we can think of attracting and retaining good data talent as sort of the same bucket. What do you think are the critical things for doing that?
I just helped a client hire somebody. And as I was helping them with, kind of bolstering the job description to make it seem a little bit more appealing to good people, I recommended, just kind of boasting about the cool technology that they would be able to use. Now, in our case, we were using like the latest and greatest Azure data tools and like actually really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't have necessarily that, but I think it is to someone that's going to be, say it's just a data engineer, the tools that they're going to learn are important to them. It's important to progress them in their career, that they're going to learn tools that are popular and going to, advance their careers as a whole, right?
Yeah. And whether the career's within that employer or somewhere else, that's something they're focused on. Well, and actually people who are in IT generally, I think, are looking for some kind of continuous learning.
Yeah, right.
So this came up the other day. So how do you make sure you have continuous learning when you're hiring very senior, really, really talented data talent?
That's a good question. I don't know. Just having new projects and stuff is good to keep them, engaged.
For sure.
What were you going to say?
Well, so I was thinking about the most talented people I deal with in IT and in data are very self-driven around continuous learning and education. And I've found, I think what I've observed is that if you simply give people the resources, be willing to pay for training courses or for a website that they can learn about something, or for a test environment that they can do things. Support their desire to do a project that may not be on the bullseye of what you're doing now, but would be something that might help later or may just allow them to advance their knowledge. More often than not, when I see someone get excited about a technology that we're not using, and then we enable or encourage them to dig into it, we end up incorporating it because it's usually something good.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better strategy than mine.
You mean the I don't know strategy?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, I probably didn't put the question right. I was thinking of it more in, you end up with senior technical people and you still have that need for continuous learning.
Right.
And if they're topped out, my son is a computer programmer, recent grad from college with a computer science degree. And he's working for a guy who's older than me, who hasn't been a programmer for a long time. And so my son, who's only 23 or 24, knows stuff better than this guy. So this guy can't really teach him new stuff, but the guy can direct him. He can connect him with someone who can teach him. He can get him the resources, that type of thing, to keep him excited, keep him motivated, help him get rid of the roadblocks, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. So I think that continuous learning is critical. And so if you're looking for good talent, make sure that you have a plan for having that going, and then make sure you talk about it.
Yeah.
And then I think the next one, big one for me, I think, is just making sure you have meaningful work. If you have drudge work, if it's just kind of like factory line work, I mean, you might keep someone who's really good talent for a little while, especially as they're trying to improve the process. But it's gonna get old for them, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. I think bridging the gap between like what you're asking somebody to do and what and the reason why, like connecting the work that you're having them do to the larger, initiatives that the company is taking on. Like, we need to decrease our COGS or something, I don't know, whatever it is. Attaching the reason why there to this person's work, that makes it that much more attractive.
Yeah, I like that. So attach it to that goal, in addition, make sure there's visibility for your good data people to how it is impacting the business.
Yeah, right.
Don't just leave them in the dark. You asked them for something, they gave it to you, and you disappeared, and you went out and increased, profit margin. Net profit margins by 4% using their thing. Make sure they know about that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I think it's easy to get into that mode.
Yeah.
Right. Another early in my career story, when I was just an analyst and I was cranking out reports, I would send reports every week to a bunch of different people. And I never really knew like how they used it or like why they even needed it. Like I could kind of guess, but I never heard from them, and that would have been really cool. Like, oh yeah, thanks. I used your data I was able to do this or that. Or
well, it's
whatever.
super gratifying. That's one of the most gratifying things for me about doing, fractional data work is hearing that success story. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fun to work on the technology and, geek out on that stuff. But it's really fun to hear about how someone improved their business or their situation or solved a problem through something clever that you did.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's a really good point.
Yeah, okay. Well, and along those same lines, maybe this goes back to the continuous learning as new challenges. So I would be really careful about hiring a really high quality data resource and not changing around what they're doing. Be careful of that. It's fine that you got a big project you need to work on for the next 9 months. Okay, good. But after that, be looking for something different, or they're going to go find something different somewhere else. Right. I think.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it, right?
I've definitely observed that. Right. Yeah, I've been surprised by it. Like, oh, I thought they were happy. Well, they were.
Yeah, they just wanted something.
They want to do something different.
Yeah, different, more challenging.
Hopefully you can figure out a way to do that. Maybe you can't. Maybe you don't have that in your company, but I would be thinking hard about that. Along those same lines, I would be careful about hiring very specific, talented data resource to do a job that's going to end soon without a plan for, okay, where am I going to use that person next? Mm-hmm. And don't just assume that they'll, let's say you hire a data pipelines person who's good at doing API programming and getting your pipelines built, and he's built the 8 that you need for your company. And then you say, okay, well, maybe you can be a modeler now. So go help the analysts with that. Well, be sure when you're hiring that person that that's going to be good for them.
Yeah.
Or you may lose them.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is definitely something that comes up. I don't know where I was going. I had a thought. Now it's gone.
I'm not challenging you enough. Okay. I had another thought as I was thinking about this, which was having a collaborative work environment. Again, this may just be along the same lines of continuous learning and challenges and so on. I think IT people get a reputation as we're all a bunch of introverts. Just leave us alone, let us do our coding. And there certainly is some of that, and more power to you if that's what you like to do. But I see more than that. People like working on teams. They like collaborating. They like bouncing ideas off of each other. I know it can be harder when you're in a remote work environment, but you can still make sure there's opportunities for that. People are doing hackathons or whatever you're doing. And then working together on teams to get things done. That collaborative thing I think is important.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the learning piece, right?
I think so. I think it's all kind of part of that.
Feel kind of like you're learning more. But I think, one easier way to make that happen for someone, like I just think about our clients. Sometimes the person they bring in is just the only person, right?
On an island,
yeah. But so like get them involved in some so there's things like SQL Saturdays. There's other like meetup groups that are around technology. I mean, I'm sure there's whatever you can think of out there, like some Power BI groups. If you got a Power BI developer, like encourage that, because then they'll get that like collaboration and peer learning that way, and you don't necessarily have to have a team of 5 people.
Those are great ideas. I hadn't been thinking about going outside.
Yeah.
So use those outside things. We do that a lot here, especially for executive development. We try to encourage people to have outside groups they're collaborating with. Sometimes it's helpful just to get that outside perspective, just get a different view.
Right.
Understand what other people are grappling with and learning about and all
Exactly.
that. All right. Where do you find these people?
That is a great question. I mean, what I've always told the managers that report to me, the engineering managers, the people that do the hiring here at Blue Margin, is you've got to go find them. Like, look at LinkedIn, go search for people. If you're hiring remote, that's great. If you're hiring that you want someone locally, just look for people that have job titles like the ones that you're after. And the best thing that I've seen from us, and that for it to work, we've hired a few people that way, is for the hiring manager to reach out and say, hey, I have this thing we need to do. I think you might be a good fit. Do you want to go grab coffee?
Yeah.
All right. That is hands down the best way to find someone who's going to be a good fit and who's going to be good. Otherwise, there's always the traditional routes, like Indeed, just putting a job posting out there, making sure you have the right keywords and stuff in it, and then rolling through the resumes.
Yeah. All right. So I love the LinkedIn approach. I was thinking about that too. I almost don't think it's worth talking about the other approaches because we're all going to do Indeed or whatever. But really, to find that super high quality person, they're working somewhere already. Probably. Yeah. They're probably not looking for a job. Yeah, you can hire a recruiter, but that's kind of an impersonal outreach. It seems like a lot of work. It almost feels like you're making a sales call, which could be intimidating to people, but it's not. You're talking to people in your field about stuff that you're into, and we've found that very often people are very receptive there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, let's just see if this sounds interesting to you, and if I think you'd be a good fit for this role, right? It's pretty casual, and even if it's a no, you've made a connection with someone that might be a yes down the road.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to try to improve on that.
I got one good answer today.
Not yet, more than one. All right, well, that wraps it. Episode 100.
All right.
Nice job. See you, Caleb.
See you.